first. This is going to affect how fast the signal changes that's coming out of our noise node, and the higher the number, the faster it's going to change. So if I crank this slider up, you can see that it starts changing at a faster rate of knots, and if I give it a lower value, it will give us a very slow change in value. Okay, well that's the frequency. Okay, well the next slider is the amplitude slider, and as you might imagine, if you make this value larger, it'll just make the signal larger. If you make it smaller, it'll make the signal smaller. Now you might at this point think, well, why do we have to adjust the amplitude at all? Can't we just set it to match the maximum lock of the wheels and just leave it at that? Well, the thing is, if you can adjust the amplitude, like especially to make it larger than the lock of the wheels, you can adjust how often the car is actually on full lock. So if you've got a bit of adjustment on this amplitude, you can tweak the behaviour of your random car. Okay, well the last thing we're going to be adjusting on this noise node is the random seed. You see, a lot of people don't really understand what random means. They think it means it's going to be different every time. Now, although there are nodes in XPresso that will give you a different set of numbers every time, this noise node, it actually gives you a random signal, but it's the same random signal every time. If I just set this rolling, and then I'm going to keep resetting it back to 0, and you'll see that although it's random, it's the same random every time. Now the way you make it different is by changing the seed, so that if I change the seed and reset it, you see now I get a different signal. And I'll reset it and set the seed again, and again, and again. So that's how you make it a different type of random every time, is by varying the seed. Now this is quite relevant if you've got say half a dozen vehicles in your scene and they've all got random steering. They've all got to have a different random seed, because if they've got the same seed, they will all move in a kind of synchronized fashion, like a load of guys in a boys band dancing on stage, all doing the same moves all at the same time. And that's not how you want your random cars moving around. You want them all to move differently to each other. Now, giving each car a separate seed can be a bit of a pain if you've got like 50 or 100 cars in your scene, but I've got some pretty clever software techniques to do that automatically. But anyway, the golden rule is always keep your eye on the random seed. Okay. Right, so we're going to need some sliders to control our noise node. So manage user data, add data. First one's going to be noise.